It's been 3 to 4 months since I haven't spoken to this girl. 4 to 5 months since I ended things with this girl. And it's just crazy. So many things come in waves, some bigger, some smaller. And it's just finding a way to stay above water, keep your head above water as these waves come, and how to do that. Some people use alcohol or drugs. Others reach back out when the waves become a bit too big. I have no intention of doing that. But I guess you won't know until it actually happens, right? You're right until you're wrong. It's crazy how one person can have such an impact on your life in such a short period of time. And you still think about them every day, even though you haven't spoken or seen them in months, in any manner. And others you spent years with, you never really felt yourself around, so it does not stick nearly as hard to the wall as these types of experiences do, I guess. And this is the first time I ever really experienced it. To an extent, I guess I'm kind of grateful that I was able to feel the loss, to allow me to actually kind of unlock that part of me, many parts of me that's led me down the road of discipline. And I think most of us should actually be striving for these terrible scenarios where we just feel totally broken, and the only person there to pick up the pieces is yourself. Picking the path of comfortability or a better way to put it is picking the known hell over the unknown heaven seems so much more common. And it seems like life just pushes us in the direction of uncomfortability, but we fight it so often and stay in our comfort zones, and that leads to so many negative outcomes, all based around health, pretty much, all based around weight, brain fog, emotional decision making. I'm not saying you shouldn't make emotional decisions. I'm saying they should be tempered with your logic. Your logic should help guide the emotions in the right direction. And too many of us constantly pick that known hell over that unknown heaven. This has probably been, on paper, one of the worst years of my life, or at least the last 12 months. And yet somehow it feels like the best year of my life, because I've pushed through those challenges and feel like I've come out stronger on the other end. Now, this all comes back to being tested and actually seeing if that's true when push comes to shove, right? I haven't been reached out to by this girl. And I've pushed back on 2 other potential relationships. Where the girls on paper seemed really, really good. Because they didn't feel like that best friend playful relationship. And it's like, will I be able to say no to this person whenever the time comes if they haven't made the necessary changes in order to be in a healthier spot? Sometimes these situations make you think whether you're going crazy, whether you have the right story. There's so many different perspectives to these situations. And obviously you need to pick the one that's in your best interest, but the part that cares for other people tells you that their perspective matters just as much, and in a lot of cases more than your own perspective. And that's a hard thing I've personally had to fight to move past, is that their perspectives should not overshadow your own perspectives. You should not prioritize their emotions over your own when they haven't prioritized your emotions over their own when the time came. You've always been told to be selfless, told to emotionally regulate them and yourself when you haven't received that emotional regulation for you when you've needed it, even in the very few times it was required. This prioritization of self over others is so important. And it sounds so selfish, and it is. It's supposed to be selfish. That's why you're prioritizing yourself. I think you should only become selfless when others have shown you they've been selfless towards you, which is sad because you're now waiting for others to make those moves before you do because you don't want to get hurt. I think these things actually best play out when micro trust situations happen. You give a little bit of vulnerability and see if they give it back. And do they then ping pong some more vulnerability back to you? Where you both slowly show more of yourself in a safe way, in a safe setting, so that you're not destroyed when things go bad. Sorry for all the pauses, by the way. I'm processing and thinking about this as I talk to myself in a bathtub. So, yeah. All this to say, holy fuck, my camera's blurry. What? All this to say, I still love this girl so much. She was the source of so many peaks of emotions in my life. She was also all the valleys, the deepest, darkest depths. She was both. She was the bottom of the ocean and she was the top of Everest. Which makes it so much harder to know how genuine that connection really was. Because it was steeped in so much trauma and false chemistry. The thing we all like to lean on when we're like, oh, this person feels so good, we have so much chemistry. And in reality, it's that chemistry that's alchemizing you into a decent person, into a self-loathing and overthinking, non-self-prioritizing self. And I still love her, and I think this will probably last. Probably the feeling of love for her forever. But it'll just turn into much smaller echoes and much smaller shadows in the future. It's probably also because I haven't met anyone else yet that's like felt like that best friend for me. So I have nothing better to say. This was not what I deserved, not what I needed, and I've now earned a person who is good for me. But I'm not there yet, unfortunately. But I mean, being patient, I think, is one of the hardest lessons I've had that I still am learning. And I think most of us are so impatient, not even with just relationships. We're impatient for our attention. We give it to our phones immediately at the slightest sign of discomfort, instead of just sitting with it, sitting with ourselves, reaching for unhealthy foods because in the moment they taste so much better. We can't be patient for maybe next Saturday I'll have a bad meal that's going to taste really good, but I know is going to destroy my health long term. We're so impatient for experiences with people. So we chase that instant gratification of physical affection when the emotional and intellectual affection is not present. And then when that connection inevitably dies because it was built purely on physical attraction and physical desire and instant gratification of, sex, physical touch, we feel so much worse after it. But then we find the next person we could put that into. So it gives us another couple weeks, couple months of dopamine hits, instant gratification, and then it just fails again, and we wonder why it keeps happening. I think I'll leave it there for today.